This is the number one thing that I have learned in college. Like, if I have learned anything in college, like if I could impart one piece of information to like incoming college students, this would be it. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is May and I am a third year at Cal State Long Beach, and I make lots of college, food, lifestyle videos in general, and recently I've been trying to do more sit-down videos, and today I have decided to film a video all about procrastination, which is pretty hilarious because I'm a huge procrastinator. Anyone who knows me knows that, but regardless, I do get my work done and I do split up like big projects. I'm very good at like managing my time to some extent, so I'm just going to talk really all about procrastination, just like every facet of it that I can think of, and give you guys the number one tip that I have for overcoming it. Basically, this is geared toward college students, but it really could be for anyone. So lots of college students, including me, have issues with procrastination, and high school students, just like students in general, honestly, I feel like. And if you ask people why they procrastinate, it would probably be laziness would be their answer. That's usually what people think it is. It's like, oh, like I don't want to, so like I'm too lazy, so I'm just gonna do it later. And that's true. I think that's part of it, but I think there are a lot of other reasons. One reason is that it works. Basically what my big problem is, I always procrastinate on my French essays. We have like an essay due every class. I always do it like the very last minute, because I don't feel like thinking of a topic and planning it out. But if I wait until I have no choice but to bang it out in an hour, I'm gonna come up with something fast and I'm gonna write it and it's gonna be fine. But I don't wanna spend all that time agonizing over what to do. Like, I could spend way more time on it, or if I'm forced to start it, I could just do it and just figure it out, you know? Like, I always am able to come up with something and get something out when I'm pressed for time at the last minute, and I think that's the case with a lot of people, because I feel like basically everyone works well under pressure. When you have a deadline, you're gonna do it. So I think that's like a huge reason why we procrastinate, is because it helps us get our work done, and sometimes that's the only way we can get our work done. So I think there's like something to be said for it, honestly, but it makes it more stressful when you like have a deadline and you're like panicking at the end. But for some people like me, that actually works. But I think in a larger sense, procrastination isn't just about laziness, but it is about perfectionism, and it is about fear. And this might sound kind of out there, but this is my theory, and I probably like subconsciously got this from somewhere. I have watched a TED Talk about procrastination. I'll link it down below. That's where I'm like getting some of this from. So it's about perfectionism and fear that our work is not going to be perfect. And so I guess like this doesn't always apply for college, like for classes that you don't care about, but for a lot of times this has something to do with it. If I save an assignment for the last minute and I don't do well on it, when I get my grade back and it's not good, I can be like, well, I hardly spent any time on that, so, you know. But if I spent a lot of time on it, then I would feel worse about it because I put more effort into it. But if I just like save it and do a crappy job on it, then that isn't there. I don't feel like it was actually something that I tried hard on, and then that criticism doesn't hurt as much. Because for me at least, criticism is like the most like hurtful. I know that it's important to take criticism, but like criticism hurts the most when it's something that I've put a lot of myself into and a lot of time into. We procrastinate because we want what we do to be perfect, but we have this idea of what it should be, but that's unachievable. So because of that, we put it off, because we can't even begin to start it with that image in mind. We put it off, and then we can't, and then it comes out badly. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is the number one thing that I have learned in college. Like, if I have learned anything in college, like if I could impart one piece of information to like incoming college students, this would be it. And it has to do with how to deal with like huge projects that you're gonna have in college, like big things, not just like a little assignment, because this is something that helps with things that you can't put off until the last minute. Like, there would be physically no way to do it at the last minute. And it is to let go of that perfect image in your mind. And I'm going to explain this, so hold on. We have this idea of what our work should be, and you can't even sit down and start it because you think that's what it has to be. So what I've learned is to sit down and start it. Just start writing something with it in mind that you can go back and edit it and change it later and improve it. That's what has helped me so much. And this goes for any class and with creative writing. When I'm writing my books, when I would get like writer's block and be like, well, this scene's just not coming out right, at least I've written something down. Because if you have something written, you can work with it. You can get critiques on it. You can workshop it, improve it, edit it. But if you have nothing, if you haven't even started, you have nothing to even go from. And so that's when it becomes scary, when you have a blank page. So hopefully that makes sense. Like, that has literally saved me in college. It's so, so important. Like, just write with the idea in your mind, this doesn't have to be perfect or even good, but I'm getting something down on the paper and it is getting me somewhere in this long road of this assignment. Like, usually the hardest part for me is starting an assignment. It'll be this big scary thing that I don't look at, and as soon as I start it, as soon as I write something, it becomes that much less scary. It becomes that much less of a to-do. So I think that really has changed my like schoolwork habits in college. Like, this was not something that I really thought about in high school that much until maybe senior year. So that's just one of my tips. I have a couple others, and one of them is to break the assignments down. So for example, when I have a huge research paper, which I had 2 of last semester, and I also have 2, and I think I have French paper too. So I have, like, basically when you have like your final papers, like, you cannot push that off into one night. You physically can't. It's not something that you can do at the last minute when you have to have critical sources and you have to like formulate your argument and write 10 pages. Like, this is something that has to be thought out. You have to think about your argument. You have to find the sources. You have to make sure they're credible. You have to see if they match with your argument. You have to find counter arguments. You have to formulate everything. You have to make a bibliography. It's crazy. And what helps is to break it down into steps. So I'm going to say, okay, step 1, I'm going to read the primary text. Step 2, I'm going to go to the library and look for books. I'm going to check out 5 books and skim through them and see if there are any articles in them that look like they might work for me. And then I'm going to search on the library databases, and I'm going to go through and find a couple articles there and search through them. And then I'm going to write my thesis. And then I'm going to write the topic sentences for my paragraphs. Something like that. Because if you just say, well, research paper, that's scary. That's unknown and terrible. But when you break it down into steps, it becomes manageable. It becomes, oh, I can do this one thing right now. And just keep in mind that you are moving toward that end goal, slow as it may be. And then another thing is to set time limits. I know a lot of other people talk about this, so I feel like this isn't as original as my other point, but it's something that needs to be said when it comes to overcoming procrastination. Is it kind of goes along with like the big and scary thing. You know it's going to take you a lot of time, but if you tell yourself, I'm just going to work on this project for 10 minutes and set a timer and write something on the page, you set aside blocked time to do that, and it becomes less scary. It becomes manageable. That's the whole thing, is taking it down from this scary, unknown, abstract concept to I can work with this. And setting time limits really does help that, because it's not this undefined, obviously you're gonna have to work on it for a lot more than 10 minutes overall, but if that's what it takes to get you to start the assignment, do it. And I'm definitely going to be using that toward the end of the semester, for sure. This I definitely got from the TED Talk, but there's another point that I want to make about this. So as much as procrastination can work in college because there is a deadline and you have to get it done so you know that you're going to get it done at some point and you'll whip something out, what about the things in life where there aren't deadlines? I think of our creative projects, and I feel like so much that image, that perfectionism is so true, way more for this. I care about my creative projects infinitely more than I care about my schoolwork, except when it overlaps, like for my creative writing classes. It's like, for example, last weekend, I absolutely fell in love with this song called Diamond Heart by Alan Walker. And I was like seeing all these moves in my head. Like I was seeing choreography in my head and I was like, I want to choreograph to this so bad. And so I like worked on my routine. I like on Thursday night, I just like started like practicing and like formulating it. And it was so much fun. I had the best time with it. Like it was total like pure creative energy. Like when like you're just, the ideas are flowing and you're excited about what you're doing. And it was so great. As I experienced that with writing sometimes, but definitely not always. And so feeling that was just so amazing. And I was frustrated because there were some moves that I like saw in my head that I wanted to do, but like I couldn't. I'm just like not trained to do them. Like I'm not a modern dancer, and that's kind of like what the routine was-ish. I don't even know. It was like popping / contemporary dance, whatever. You can check my Instagram if you want to see it. I was like, well, I can't really do those, like some of the moves that I like want to, and it doesn't look as good as it would have if like an actual like dancer or like an actual modern dancer was doing it. But I did it anyway. So instead of saying, oh, I'm gonna wait till like maybe I could do those moves and like then I could like have this how I wanted to. No, I just did it because I wanted to, because I wanted to share my work online and just like have the personal fulfillment of doing it. And that's also what I did with my YouTube channel. I didn't know what I was doing when I made that first video of me doing the dorm tour. I'm with my phone. I didn't know how to edit. It was like rookie, like I had to like borrow my friend's computer, but there was something inside me that was like, I know that I want to do this. I didn't see another path. I had watched YouTube videos. I had imagined myself doing it. Like I didn't see another choice. I had to do it. And it took, I'm still not by no means like a great YouTuber and like super good at editing, but I've gotten so much better and I love creating content. And if I had never taken that step when it was even further from being perfect and where I wanted it to be, because I was seeing all these other YouTube videos and thinking that I wanted mine to look like that and it couldn't at that point, I did it anyway. And so it's taking that first step and having it not be exactly what you want, but you just have to do it because the truth is that it's never going to be perfect. And when there isn't a deadline, you can push it off forever. And that's so sad. I've been listening to so many podcasts about creativity. Everybody has something to share with the world. This is probably getting really cheesy right now, but if we don't share it because of fear, because of thinking that it's not where we want it to be, that it's not good enough, then like no one's gonna get to hear your story. And so this is just something that means a lot to me and something that I have to remind myself too, like with writing my books, because that totally gets into my head where I'm like, this isn't good enough. Like it's not. And it's like, you just have to keep writing anyway. You know what I mean? So I've talked for forever. So this is actually going to be the end of this video now. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this was helpful. And please, I would love to discuss anything down below about procrastination, college, anything you want. Please leave your comments. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I will see you in my next video. I make videos every Monday and Thursday. Bye.